In the beginning, light emerged from darkness, bringing forth the sky, ocean, land and plants, to fill the wasteland. Later on, light sent 12 angels, each with the power of one of 12 animals, to the land of the living. It also chose a human to oversee them in an effort to bring peace and harmony to the world. The human residing, worshipped light, the Creator, as their God. The light territory grew up, which made the darkness diminish, giving rise to evil spirit, which began to consume the world. The 12 angels decided to triumph over the evil spirit, relax and enjoy as the movie begins. Forging ahead, in this scene, we see Taesan from the Angel Capital Group in the prison to meet Mr. Jo Yangsu, who owes them a huge amount of money. He told him that the interest increased again, summing it up to 2.2 billion won. He then advised Jo Yangsu to sell off his properties, which was his business car, for the money to be swapped off. Unfortunately, Jo Yangsu was unhappy and refused to let go of his properties. He persuaded Taesan to give him some time, to be released from the prison, to enable him work at some part-time jobs which can guarantee him some money to pay. Not long after, before Taesan left the prison, he called his accomplice named Jweidel, to bail off Jo Yangsu from the prison. Moving on, in this scenario, a member from the Angel Capital Group received a call from someone who wanted to take a loan, but unfortunately, the person wasn't an ex-convict or a gangster, so she rejected the offer. There in the capital, they received a message from their chief, who told them to strike when they have got the cash on hand, so they set off immediately. Taesan, on the other hand, received a call from the detective, Mir's father. He wanted some cash from Taesan to buy clothes for Mir as a gift. Taesan didn't hesitate to send him the money. Advancing, Dr. Bangwul was seen treating her patient with twisting of neck method. The patient screamed loudly. This brought the attention of the other doctor, Doni, who told her to use the medicinal herbs. Mir's father, Murok, on the other hand, was passing by, when saw a teacher telling the students about the story of the beginning. Afterwards, he and his daughter met at a nice area, where he presented the gift to her, but unfortunately for him, she refused the gift, because the money was given by Chief, of whom she offended. She also told to stop coming to her workplace. Her father was not happy with Mir, because he felt she has stayed aside from the family for over 10 years. She left immediately, leaving the gift with him. Afterwards, in this scene, we see Jo Yangsu and his boys having fun. When he received a call from Taesan, he blasted Taesan on the phone, telling him to hold on with the money. Taesan asked how he felt being out of the prison. He replied with a positive answer. Taesan then cut the phone, telling him that he would appear in front of him in some minutes. He started ranting after Taesan had cut the call. Sora, Jo Yangsu's girlfriend, persuaded that she would like to watch him fight, but Jo Yangsu knew what was about to happen, so he gave her an excuse, which she swallowed. Few minutes later, Taesan stopped his car and came down, meeting Jo Yangsu's boys in front of him. He dealt with them mercilessly within some seconds. He entered the room and met Jo Yangsu trembling in fear. Jo Yangsu knew that he wasn't matched for Taesan, so he decided to avoid a second fight by bringing out all the money he had, also his jewelry he put on. Taesan then gave him a paper to sign. Moving on, Taesan boys, who were part of the Angel Capital Group, approached an hideout to fight some cruel boys. Jweidel, who was their driver, stayed back in the vehicle to supply them with updates. The rest of them came down to handle the boys. They sneaked in from the entrance. Malsuk was impatient in dealing with them, so she started and others followed suit. One of the boys was about to run away with some bags full with money. Surprisingly, the doctor stopped him from the front. He kicked him very hard that he fell down on the floor. Malsuk, on the other hand, met him at the spot, and was also surprised on seeing Doni. They were able to get the guy and secure the bag, so they disappeared. Forging ahead, Taesan stopped at Jeomsun's street food. He came to visit Jeomsun, who he knew since when she was a kid. She was the only one who knew that he was an angel. She then decided to prepare something for him. They were still talking, when a man named Manbok hit him on the back for talking to Jeomsun with a cord, unknown to him, his status. When Taesan came back, he couldn't find his accomplice, so he decided to go to his storeroom, where he stored some money in there. Later on, a group was seen performing ritual with black garments. After a few minutes, it seemed it wasn't working. Their leader had to cut his hand and placed his hand on the rock. Just immediately, the rock brought out a green light, then the ground started shaking. Moving on, in this scene, we see Taesan sitting on his couch, remembering what he discussed with Jeomsun. He also remembered back then, when he saved a man from hoodlums, in the rural area. Mir, who was with him, also used her powers to fight them also. That night, the villagers were afraid that she would kill them later in the future, so they took a brave action to burn her, but it wasn't successful because he immediately showed up and cleared the shackles. The 12 angels assembled that night and promised themselves not to get involved with humans again. That same group, on black garments, awakened the evil spirit, Agui. They risked their lives to wake him up, in order for him to give them power to defeat Tayson and Balak, the angels. Early the next morning, Kangji, Malsuk and Doni were having some exercise. When Doni was already exhausted, he fell down on the floor. By then he had already quit the exercise for the day. He left them to continue. He was eating in a joint, when suddenly, he saw a dog who barked at him severely. He saw anxious that he stood up to beat the dog. Just immediately, the owner appeared and confronted Doni for the disturbance. Kangji and Malsuk saw what was going on, so they rushed there and dissolved the issue. They took Doni to a cool place to discuss. They reminded him about what the chief said, not to do anything with humans. Advancing, Agui was walking on the street. When Mir saw him, she was surprised on seeing the strange face. She turned back and continued. Agui, on the other hand, turned back and saw it was one of the angels. He then turned back and continued walking. That night, the angels were having in a restaurant, where they claimed that it was Bang Wul's birthday. Afterwards, in this scene, we see Samin and Agui on top of a high building, discussing on how to change this earth back to hell. Samin ensued Agui that he could get much powers by looking for a certain stone. Agui asked him what he wanted from him. He told him that he wants the earth to return to being hell of death and curses. Samin then ensued that if he could revive Hitha's power with the stone, we would be very powerful. Agui didn't fully believe in him, so he warned Samin that he would destroy him, if he was deceiving him. He spread his feathers and flew away. The next day, the angels were eating in a restaurant, where they discussed about what Doni dreamt about. They were quite worried that Chief was working, while they are enjoying themselves. Tayson, on the other hand, was seen counting the money he collected from the car owner after he had dealt with them. He put the money in the bag and drove off immediately. Few hours later, he visited a doctor where he complained of a chest problem, so he requested for medication. He lied down on the couch, while the doctor went to prepare the medication. Later on, Samin and his men assembled in an area, where they performed a ritual in initiating two people. Just immediately, the angels sensed that the evil spirits has awakened, so they called Murok, who notified that he was coming. They assembled together and were still confused that the evil spirit that vanished thousands of years ago has awakened. They moved out immediately. Forging ahead, Samin was seen performing a second ritual. Suddenly, Mir was in the park, when suddenly, she turned back and saw some men on black, who were the evil spirit. They started attacking, Samin on the other hand, so these action through the water used for his rituals. The angels appeared immediately. They engaged in a fight, which very serious. They had some damages. Tayson, on the other hand, came back and couldn't find his accomplice. He sensed that something was wrong. He opened his drawer and brought out the necklace, which signified that the evil spirits has awakened. The angels were having a tough time in the fight, which made some of them weak. Afterwards, Bang Wul came in, showing Tayson the same necklace. Sooner, Murok arrived at the venue. He immediately noticed the energy of the evil spirits. Murok decided to freeze them with his mysterious rod, but when Samin saw this, he invoked powers in them that made them God unfreeze. They vanished immediately after Murok bestowed his hands on one of them, using his powers to send them back. The angels had to leave, because they knew that Tayson was waiting for them. Few minutes later, they were already back. Bang Wul was already treating them, when suddenly, Tayson entered the ward and was not pleased with what he saw. He went back and sat down, discussing with Murok about the evil spirits. The two of them later entered the ward. This time Tayson severely warned them not to bother about the humans again, but only to focus on keeping their family safe. He left them angrily. Murok, on the other hand, took Wonsung to a restaurant where they discussed how angry and depressed Tayson was in the ward. Afterwards, Tayson went to an underground chamber. In attentive imagination, he remembered the 4 angels who died centuries ago. Murok also joined him in discussing about them. Proceeding, given this context, we see Mir coming back to her family, after staying away for years. Murok was very glad to welcome her. Later on, Kangji was having some exercise, when she stopped and remembered the statements Tayson made. Subsequently, we observed Tayson coming down from his ride, to meet Jiam soon. He gave her some money to stay away from the country, because of the war he sensed. Wonsung, on the other hand, was noticed in the mountain, where he was asked by Murok to look for the spot the evil spirits assembled. Unfortunately, he called Murok and told him that he couldn't find it. Murok thus told him to keep scanning other areas. Some angels went to visit some kids in the school, where they gave them all sort of gifts. Jiam Soon and her accomplice came to visit Tayson. They brought back the bag of money, refusing to collect it. In vivid imagination, Tayson remembered when he saved Jiam Soon from hoodlums that wanted to take away her food shop. They had a great day with Tayson by enjoying themselves with delicious meals. The angels were serving the kids with what they brought. so they had to queue up to avoid issue. By nightfall, Agui was seen on top of a tall building, where we remembered what Samin told him. Moving on, in this scene, we the Angels Capital Group having a great dinner, with some delicious meal. Dwidle inquired that if Mir need any information, she should reach out to him first. These was said by him, because of how long she has been away. Doni called Murok who was passing by to join them, but he insisted on meeting Tayson inside. He saw lying down with lots of thoughts in his mind. Samin was alone for a while, until Agui came in to keep him company. Tayson on the other hand, was dreaming on how the walls and everywhere was scattering. He woke up after a few minutes, and saw Murok sitting down close to him. They entered into a serious conversation. Murok told him that Agui had awakened. He collected the phone to view when he entered a storeroom to collect the stone. Agui saw a red light on the stone, which he saw on the heart also. They were confused why Samin was missing for years, just to come back and awaken the mysterious Agui. Agui on the other hand, was seen using his powers to find the other's stones, when he saw one at a recycling. The recycling officer came down from the caterpillar and saw the stone that was very strange to him. He turned back and 3 strange people who were on black, so he started trembling in fear. Sung was still searching, when suddenly, he saw a signal from the device. Forging ahead, Mir and Malsuk were training in a hall. Surprisingly, Mir used her powers on Malsuk. She was glad that Mir still had her powers with her. Afterwards, they went out to eat, and tell some tales. Tayson was sitting with Murok, when he saw Mir and called her for a close conversation. The other angels were having a meeting, when Murok told them that Agui had awakened, and was done by Samin. Mir was instructed by Tayson to stay indoor for a while, because the evil spirits were looking for something in her. Sung alternatively, saw in the device that the evil spirits were gathering. He moved closer and saw them entering a tunnel. At that point, he had already located where Samin and Agui reside. Tayson